The stars were quiet that night, like they were watching and waiting. Dr. Elias Rain stood outside his small lab on the edge of Colony 5, looking up at the dark sky. This human colony was far from Earth, built on a peaceful planet called Varel. Life here was slow, calm, maybe even boring. But Elias liked it that way. He was a scientist, not a soldier. He came here to study the plants and rocks, not to fight or explore danger. Then the signal came. It arrived in short, broken sounds, a strange language no human had heard before. The signal was weak, like it had traveled a long way. The colony leaders ignored it. They said it was a broken message, maybe from a dead satellite. But Elias didn't believe that. Something in the sound felt alive, like someone was calling for help. Late at night, Elias packed his small rover and followed the signal. He drove across the rocky plains for hours, guided only by the blinking dot on his scanner. The air was quiet, too quiet. No animals, no wind, just the low hum of his machine. He found the ship at sunrise. It was buried deep in the sand, half broken, smoke still rising from its engine. Not human. The metal was dark, sharp, and strange. Symbols were carved along the side, alien writing, the kind seen in war reports from Earth. Elias had seen these symbols before in books. They belonged to a species feared across the galaxy, a predator race. Killers. His hands shook. He knew what this meant. There was someone inside that ship. He climbed inside slowly, flashlight in hand. The air was thick and hot. He moved past broken walls and sparking wires. Then he saw it. A creature, tall and powerful, lay on the floor, breathing slowly. Blood darkened its chest. Its claws were sharp. Its skin was thick and scaly. Its eyes were closed, but even sleeping it looked dangerous. This was a predator, one of the Varnock, a species known for war and death. Elias knew what he should do. The rules were clear. Report it. Stay away. Let the military handle it. But he didn't. He looked at the creature again. Broken. Bleeding. Dying. For a moment, Elias didn't see a monster. He saw someone hurt. Someone lost. He thought, if it was me, would they leave me to die? He took a breath, stepped forward, and began to help. It wasn't easy. The creature was heavy. Strong, even half dead. Elias used all his tools, his scanner, his medical box, his training. He worked for hours, cleaning the wounds, stopping the bleeding, fixing what he could. All the while, he felt the eyes of the dead ship watching him. Waiting. He brought the creature back to his lab, hidden from the others. He didn't tell the colony. Not yet. They wouldn't understand. They would panic. Or worse, kill it. Days passed. The creature didn't wake, but it breathed, steady and slow. Elias gave it food and water, unsure if it needed them. He watched it like it watched him, silent and careful. He even gave it a name, Core. It sounded strong, sharp, like the creature itself. Then, one night, as the stars shone over Colony 5, Core opened his eyes. Elias froze. Core's golden eyes locked onto him. No fear, no confusion, just watching. Core didn't move, not at first. He just stared, like trying to understand what Elias was. Elias raised his hands. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe." Core growled low, deep in his throat. A warning. Elias didn't step back. He didn't run. He just stayed still, his eyes calm. Minutes passed. The silence was heavy. Core's eyes narrowed. "Why?" he said, voice rough and strange. "Why, not kill me?" Elias blinked. It spoke. It understood. He answered slowly, "Because you needed help." Core tilted his head, confused. "Weakness," he said. "You are weak." Elias smiled a little. "Maybe. Or maybe you're just not used to kindness. Core didn't reply. He closed his eyes again, but not to sleep. He was thinking. For the first time, someone had treated him not as a weapon, but as a life worth saving. Outside, the wind started again. The signal was still out there. And, far away in the dark of space, something else had heard it too. Something was coming. Core didn't sleep much after that first night. He rested, but his eyes often stayed half open. Watching, listening, learning. Every movement Elias made, Core noticed. Every word, every look. Nothing escaped his eyes. Elias felt it too. The air inside the lab had changed. It was like sharing a room with a wild animal that hadn't decided yet whether to bite or stay calm. Core was quiet, but not peaceful. He wasn't weak anymore. His body healed faster than Elias expected. The cuts were closing. The bones were strong again. Soon he wouldn't need help, and that scared Elias. Still, he kept working. Every day he checked Core's wounds, gave him food, and spoke to him. Simple words at first, names of things. Water, food, pain. Core listened, eyes sharp, like a student who didn't trust the teacher but couldn't stop learning. Sometimes Elias would find Core looking at the stars through the window, not in wonder, but like he was remembering something. Maybe a place, maybe a person, or maybe a battle. One evening, as Elias cleaned the tools near the table, Core spoke again. You, not soldier. Elias turned. No, I'm not. You weak. Soft hands, soft voice, not like others. I'm a scientist, Elias said. I study things. I try to understand them. Core looked down at his own arm. The bandages were gone. The wound now a scar. Others would kill. Yes, Elias said quietly. They would. Silence filled the room again. But it was a different kind of silence now. Less sharp, less cold. That night, someone knocked on Elias's door. It was Captain Vance from the colony security team. Big man, hard eyes. We picked up strange tracks outside, he said. Found burns on the rocks. Any idea what it could be? Elias shook his head. Maybe lightning. The captain narrowed his eyes. You always been a bad liar, Doc. When he left, Elias locked the door behind him. Inside, Core had listened to every word. He stood now, tall and still, his eyes not afraid, but alert. Ready? They will come, he said. Yes, Elias replied. If they find you, they'll try to take you. Then I leave. No, Elias said quickly. You're not strong enough. Not yet, Core growled. Strong enough to break them. Elias didn't doubt it, but he also knew what would happen if Core fought back. The colony would send ships, weapons. Core would not survive, and neither would anyone else. You don't have to fight, Elias said. Let me find a way. Core turned away. Weak plan. But he didn't leave. Over the next few days, Elias taught Core more words, sentences, ideas. They talked about humans, about Earth, about peace. Core didn't understand at first. His world was built on power and fear. Kindness was seen as weakness, but Elias kept talking, kept explaining, and Core kept listening. One morning, Elias woke to find Core standing outside the lab, under the open sky. The sun rose behind him, casting a long shadow across the ground. Core looked calm. You should not be here, Elias said, worried. Core didn't move. I waited. I listened. You speak truth. You are not weak. Elias frowned. What changed your mind? Core turned his head. A weak man saves no enemy. You saved me. Before Elias could answer, the ground shook. A sound echoed from the sky. A ship. Not human. Elias ran to his scanner. Another signal, coming fast. Core looked up. They come for me. Who? Elias asked. Core growled. My kind. Elias froze. If another Varnock ship was coming, the colony was in danger. The last report humans had from Varnock space ended in blood. No survivors. We have to warn them, Elias said. They will not believe, Kor replied. You're right, Elias said, but they'll believe danger. Maybe not you. Kor looked at Elias for a long time. If they attack, I fight. No, Elias said. Not yet. Let me try first. Kor stepped forward. You saved me. Now I save you. And then, for the first time, Elias saw something strange in Kor's face. Not fear, not anger, but loyalty. The beast had watched the human, judged him, and now he had made his choice. The night was darker than usual. Clouds covered the moons and the stars were hidden. Colony 5 was quiet, but the air felt heavy. People slept in their homes, not knowing that something dangerous was coming from above. Elias couldn't sleep. He stood near the window of his lab, watching the sky. His scanner beeped every few seconds, warning him that the unknown ship was getting closer. It wasn't a human ship. He knew that. It was Varnock. Behind him, Kor stood silent. His eyes were locked on the scanner, jaw tight, arms crossed. He was ready. He hadn't said much since they saw the signal. He didn't need to. His mind was focused on one thing: war. Elias didn't want war. But he also didn't want to lose Kor. He had sent a message to the colony leaders earlier that day, warning them of an incoming threat. He didn't say who sent it, or why. He just said danger was coming fast and they needed to prepare. No one answered. They don't believe me, Elias said. Kor's voice was low. They will believe when they die. Elias turned to him. We still have a chance. Maybe they won't attack. They will, Kor said. They do not come to talk. They come to finish me. The ground trembled. A deep hum filled the air. Something passed over the lab, big, silent, and close. Then came a loud thump, and another. The power flickered. Lights turned red. Warning signals lit up across the board. They're here, Elias whispered. Outside, shadows moved fast across the land. Black shapes, tall and wide, landed near the colony gates. The security towers came alive with lights and weapons. But the guards weren't ready. The first attack came hard, blinding flashes, loud blasts, screams. The colony had no time to fight back. Elias grabbed a small bag of supplies. He looked at Kor. What do we do? Kor was already moving. He picked up a heavy metal staff from the wall, one Elias had never seen before. It had strange symbols on it, like the ones on Kor's old ship. Kor turned and gave Elias one order. Stay close. The door burst open with a loud crash. A Varnock soldier stepped in, bigger than Kor, with armor and sharp weapons on both arms. Its eyes burned red. It looked at Elias. Then Kor moved. Faster than Elias thought possible, Kor charged. His staff hit the other Varnock hard, sending it, flying back into the wall. The fight was short, brutal. Kor stood over the body, chest rising and falling. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He just turned and walked out into the fire. Elias followed. The colony was under full attack now. Alien ships hovered above, sending down more soldiers. Buildings burned. Sirens screamed. People ran in all directions. Elias saw the security team trying to fight, but their weapons were too weak. The Varnock soldiers were stronger, faster, trained for this. But they hadn't planned for Kor. Kor moved through the chaos like a storm. He didn't hide. He didn't run. He fought with purpose. He hit hard, fast, smart. And each time he took one down, he growled louder, angrier. Elias stayed behind cover, helping people escape when he could. He watched Kor protect strangers, who had never even seen him before. Kor didn't do it for thanks. He did it because Elias had saved him, and now he was returning that debt. Word spread fast. There's a creature helping us. He's fighting the aliens. He saved my daughter. People were confused, scared, but they followed him. Captain Vance saw it too. He found Elias near the clinic, dragging a wounded man inside. "Is that the thing you were hiding?" he asked. Elias didn't lie. "Yes." The captain stared at the battlefield, where Kor stood between a group of colonists and 4 incoming Varnock soldiers. He didn't back down. Vance nodded slowly. "Then I hope you're hiding more of them." By sunrise, the battle was over. The Varnock ship pulled back, rising into the sky and disappearing into the stars. Their mission had failed. Kor was not weak. He had become something else now, something they feared. The colony was damaged, but still standing. People were hurt. Homes were broken. But they were alive. Because of Kor. He returned to the lab. Without a word, his body was covered in dust and blood. He sat down, silent again. Elias walked over and handed him a glass of water. Kor took it, drank, then looked at Elias. "No one touches my human," he said. Elias smiled, tired and proud. The predator was no longer a monster. He was a protector. The sun rose over Colony 5, but it did not bring peace. Smoke still floated in the air. Some buildings were gone. The people walked slowly with tired eyes. They were alive, but their world had changed, and they all knew who saved them. The creature, the alien, the monster, had fought for them, protected them. Some still feared him. Others began to whisper his name, not in fear now, but in respect. Kor. Inside the lab, Elias cleaned wounds on Kor's arm. He worked quietly, carefully. Kor didn't flinch. His eyes were calm. His body had cuts and bruises, but nothing serious. He had taken much worse before. "You didn't have to fight," Elias said softly. "I did," Kor replied. "They were yours. Now they are mine." Elias looked up. "You mean the people?" Kor nodded. "They belong to you. You belong to me." Elias laughed a little. "I'm not sure how I feel about that." Kor tilted his head. "You saved me. I protect what is mine." Outside, a group of people stood at the gate of the lab. Elias looked through the window and saw Captain Vance, a few guards, and some civilians. They didn't look angry. They didn't have weapons. That was a surprise. Vance knocked once. "Doc, can we talk?" Elias opened the door halfway. "He's inside." "We know," Vance said. "We just wanted to say thanks." Kor stepped into view behind Elias. The guards flinched, but Vance held up a hand. "It's okay." One of the colonists, a woman who had lost her home in the attack, stepped forward. Her hands shook as she spoke. "He saved my little boy, carried him out of the fire. I saw it," another man added. "He stopped them from reaching the clinic. Without him, we'd be dead." Kor stood still, watching, listening. Elias spoke. For him. "He didn't do it for thanks, but you should know, he's not your enemy." Vance nodded. "Maybe he's not. And maybe we need him." After that, things began to change. The colony built a new defense team, and Kor was part of it. At first, people stayed back when he walked by, but soon they began to nod. Speak. Some even smiled. Children followed him, whispering stories. They called him the pet who fights back. Kor didn't mind. He trained with the guards, taught them how to fight like the Varnock, how to move, how to strike, how to see weakness. In return, Elias taught Kor more about humans, about kindness, about working together. Kor learned fast. One evening, Elias and Kor sat on the roof of the lab watching the sky. It was quiet, peaceful. "You've changed," Elias said. Kor didn't answer at first. Then he said, "No, I remember who I was, but I choose to be this now." Elias nodded. "You're not just a weapon anymore." "No," Kor agreed. I am something new. A sound broke the calm. A ship entering orbit. Both of them stood. Elias checked the scanner. It's human. A government ship. Kor's eyes narrowed. They will not like me. No, Elias said. They won't. The ship landed in the center of the colony the next day. Men and women in uniform stepped out. They wore cold expressions. Their leader, Commander Slate, walked straight to Elias. We've read your reports, she said. We know what you did. Elias stood tall. I did what was right. We'll decide that, Slate said. Where's the alien? Kor walked into the open before Elias could answer. He stood in front of the soldiers without fear. Slate looked at him. So, this is the one who caused all the trouble. No, Elias said. He stopped the trouble. He's a Varnock, Slate said sharply. They are dangerous, unpredictable. He saved us, a voice called. A young man stepped forward. He protected our children, said another. More people gathered behind Kor, behind Elias. Their voices grew louder, stronger. Commander Slate looked around. She didn't like what she saw. The people weren't afraid of the alien. They were standing with him. Slate frowned. This isn't over. She turned and walked back to her ship. Kor watched them go. They will return. Yes, Elias said. But next time, we'll be ready. Kor turned to Elias. They still think I am your pet. Elias smiled. They're wrong. Kor's voice was quiet but strong. No, they are right. But not in the way they think. He looked up at the stars. A pet obeys. I protect. There is a difference. Elias nodded. And maybe someday they'll understand that. The predator who once came to kill was now a guardian, and this was just the beginning. Days turned into weeks. The colony was rebuilding. The fires were gone, but the memory stayed. Everyone remembered who stood with them, and everyone remembered who saved them. Kor had become more than just a protector. He was part of them now. Children smiled when they saw him. Workers brought him extra food. Even the guards trained with him daily. They called him Brother Kor. At first, Kor didn't understand the word. But Elias explained it. A brother is someone who stands by you, someone who would fight for you, and someone you would fight for. Kor thought for a moment, then said, Then you are my brother. Elias smiled. Yes, I am. They were. No longer just scientist and alien. No longer just human and predator. They had become something more. Brothers not by blood, but by bond. But peace never lasts long. One evening, the scanner lit up again. Elias checked the signal. His face went pale. This is not a Varnock ship. Kor stepped beside him. What is it? Elias stared at the screen. Human, military, full weapon system, Class A, and it's not coming to help. Kor narrowed his eyes. Then they come to kill. The ship landed outside the colony. This time it was not just Commander Slate. She had brought a full strike. Team, tanks, drones, energy cannons. She wasn't taking chances. Slate stepped forward. We gave you time. We let you rebuild. But this creature is a threat to human safety. He must be handed over. No, Elias said. He's not a threat. He's family. Your feelings don't matter, Doctor, she snapped. This is war protocol. Vance, the colony's captain, stepped in. This isn't a war zone, and he's protected under colony law, Slate smirked. Then your colony is now under review. Tension spread like fire. Kor stood tall beside Elias. He didn't speak. He didn't move. But his eyes told everyone, if they tried to take him, it would not end well. That night, Elias and Kor sat together quietly. They will not stop, Kor said. They fear what they don't control. You're not theirs to control, Elias said. I was once a weapon, Kor said. They think I still am. You're more than that. Kor nodded slowly. You made me more. The next day, something unexpected happened. Another ship appeared, small, fast, old markings. Elias blinked at the scanner. It's Varnock, the humans panicked. Slate prepared her soldiers. It's a trap. The creature called for backup. But Kor didn't look surprised. He stepped outside calmly, watching the ship land. One figure exited, another Varnock, older, heavily scarred. His armor was worn, but his eyes were sharp. He walked toward Kor, without fear. Kor of the Blacktooth, he said in a rough voice. You live. Kor nodded. I do. You left your kind, joined prey. They are no longer prey. The older Varnock looked around. They are weak. They were, Kor said. Now they are brothers, the Varnock growled. You are changed, not by battle, but by bond. Kor stepped forward. And you will not touch them. For a long moment, no one moved. The two Varnock stared at each other, then the older one nodded. Then I fight beside you. Elias stepped forward. Wait, you're not here to attack? The old Varnock looked at him. No, I came to see what made the hunter tame. I came ready to kill. But now I see he is stronger now. Slate was furious. This is madness. You're letting aliens gather and call it peace? Vance raised his voice. You want to start a war over someone who saved us? I'm following orders, Slate shouted. Well, said Elias, maybe it's time someone gave new ones. The people of the colony stood behind Kor, behind Elias, even behind the old Varnock, who now waited quietly like a guardian. That day, everything changed. Slate left, but she didn't forget. The military pulled back, but the message was clear. They would return, with bigger guns, with no patience left. But the colony didn't care. They had already made their choice. Kor was not their pet. He was not their prisoner. He was their brother. And now, even his enemies had started to understand that when you give kindness, it's not weakness. Sometimes, it makes something stronger than fear. The colony was quiet again, but the silence was heavy. Everyone knew it would not last. The military had left for now, but their warning was clear. They would come back, with more soldiers, more ships, and no questions. Elias sat in his lab watching the sky. His fingers tapped the table. He was worried, not for himself, for Kor. Across the room, Kor cleaned his staff. His movements were calm, but his eyes were sharp. He knew what was coming too. The last few weeks had been full of training, planning, and waiting. The people were stronger now. They had learned from Kor. They had learned from war. But still, they were not ready for a full military attack. I don't want to lose everything, Elias said. You may have to, Kor replied. Elias looked at him. There has to be a way out. There is, Kor said. But peace always has a price. That night, a message arrived, a coded signal. It came from Commander Slate. She wanted to talk. The colony leaders met in the command hall. Elias, Kor, Captain Vance, and the others listened as Slate's voice played over the speaker. You have one chance, she said. Surrender the alien. If you do, we will leave the colony alone. No war, no death, just him. Everyone looked at Kor. He said nothing. Elias stood. This is a trap, Vance agreed. They'll take him, then come for us later. But what? If they don't? Someone asked. What if this is the only way to stop a war? Kor finally spoke. It is. Elias turned quickly. You're not actually thinking of going? Kor looked at him. If I do not, they will kill all of you. No, Elias said. We'll fight. They have more ships, more guns. You will lose. We'll lose you too, Elias said, voice tight. Kor stepped forward. Then let me choose my way. The next day, the sky darkened again. The military ship returned. It landed outside the colony, just like before. But this time, the colony was waiting, not with weapons, but with words. Kor walked out alone. Elias followed, but stayed a few steps behind. His heart felt heavy, like it was breaking. Commander Slate stood tall, arms crossed. "So, you've decided," Kor nodded. "I will go with you. Leave the colony alone." Slate smiled. "Smart choice." Kor held out his staff. "On one condition." "What condition?" she asked. "That I am not your prisoner. I am your shield." Slate frowned. "What does that mean?" "You want to fight Varnock. I will help you. I will teach you." "But if you touch this colony again, I will become your enemy." She studied him, then slowly nodded. "Fine. You'll help us. Or you'll die." Kor turned to Elias. For the first time, Elias saw something strange in his eyes. Sadness. "I was your pet," Kor said. "Then your protector. Then your brother." "You still are," Elias said. Kor shook his head. "No. A brother does not leave. But peace needs blood." Elias tried to speak, but the words caught in his throat. Kor walked forward. One step. Then another. The soldiers moved to take him, but he raised a hand. "I walk on my own." The ship's doors closed behind him. Then it rose into the sky. Gone. The colony was safe, for now. But Elias did not feel safe. He felt empty. For days he worked alone. He fixed things, helped others. But something was missing. The lab was quiet without Kor. The nights were colder. One morning a message arrived. Not from the military, not from Slate. From Kor. It was short. "I live, I teach, I watch them, but I miss my brother." Elias read the words again and again. Then he stood up. If peace had a price, he would pay it. But someday, he would bring Kor home. Because peace without your brother isn't peace at all. Time passed. Months turned into a year. The colony grew stronger, safer, more united. People built homes, families, futures. But one thing stayed the same. The memory of Kor. They didn't forget him. Children told stories of the day he fought the raiders. Elders remembered how he stood against the army. His name was written in their walls, their books, their hearts. But to Elias, he was more than a hero. He was a brother. Elias never stopped watching the stars. Every night he checked for messages. Most of the time there was nothing, until one day, a signal appeared. It was short, old code. But Elias knew it. Kor. The message said only, "They fear me now." But some listen. Change is slow. I teach them how to be better. "I remember you." Elias smiled. He wasn't sure if it was joy or sadness. Then the signal was gone. But something inside Elias changed. He stopped waiting. He started preparing. Not for war, for reunion. He began building something, in secret. A small ship, fast, light, silent. Not for battle, just across the stars. Others saw him work. At first they thought he was wasting time, but slowly they began to help. "Why are you doing this?" someone asked. Elias answered, "Because he came to us as a predator. He became our protector. He left as our brother. Now it's our turn." The ship took a year to finish. Elias called it Kor's Promise. He launched it one morning, alone, carrying only a few things: maps, supplies, and a pendant with the colony seal. He didn't know where Kor was, but he knew the stars, and he knew how to find someone who left a trail of peace. The journey was long. Elias traveled across abandoned outposts, broken war zones, and quiet planets. Everywhere he went, he heard whispers. A warrior came here. Big, silent, taught us how to fight without hate. An alien who didn't kill, who protected children during a flood. A monster who saved a village, then vanished into the sky. Elias smiled. Kor had been there. He was changing the galaxy. One place at a time. Finally, on a dusty moon with red skies, Elias found the signal again. Stronger now, he followed. Yet at the top of a mountain under a broken satellite tower, he saw him, Kor. Older, scarred, wiser. He was surrounded by others, humans and aliens. Training them, teaching them, protecting them. Kor looked up and saw Elias. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Kor walked forward. They stood face to face. "I knew you would come," Kor said. "You left me no choice." Elias replied, smiling. "I could not return," Kor said. "I know," Elias said, "so I came to you." Kor looked at the people behind him. "I made peace here. And now I'll help you keep it," Elias said, "just like you helped us." Kor looked at his brother. Then slowly he said, "They still call me the pet." "Even now," Elias shook his head. "No," he said. "You were never just a pet. You were the proof that even a weapon can choose peace. That even a predator can love. You were our mirror and our shield." Kor nodded. "Then let us finish what we started." Elias put a hand on his shoulder. Together, they turned to face the stars. Far away, the galaxy was still broken. Still, full of fear and war. But in that moment, on that moon, peace stood tall. Not in armor, not with guns, but as two brothers, one human, one alien, once enemies, now hope, forever.